Gerard Butler is right. This Den of Thieves scene is the best of his career. Gerard Butler once claimed a key Den of Thieves scene was the best of his career, and he's right. Audiences have had a long wait since Den of Thieves ended, which saw Gerard Butler's Big Nick O'Brien realize that Donnie O'Shea Jackson Jr. was the actual criminal mastermind behind the crew. Den of Thieves 2. Pantera sees Nick change sides, in a move that builds off his persona from the original. Nick was never the good guy, so his Breaking Bad makes a certain amount of sense. It's been interesting charting the rise of Den of Thieves as a rewatchable favorite, with the film having been dismissed originally as a Heat ripoff. It's certainly that, but it's also got great characters, dialogue, and action sequences of its own. Big Nick is one of Butler's best characters, an obnoxiously macho cop whose toxic habits have also left his private life a shambles. This is the best scene in a dinner party scene, where Nick attempts to embarrass his estranged wife Debbie, Dawn Olivieri. Gerard Butler is right about Den of Thieves' divorce scene being his best work. On the commentary track for Den of Thieves, director Christian Gudegast recalls Butler praising the dinner party scene as his favorite scene from his entire career. This sees a drunken Nick crashing a party being held by Debbie's friend, with Debbie also having a date. By this point in the story, Nick has been served divorce papers after Debbie learned of his infidelities, and he decides to sign them right in the middle of her date. In addition to the comedic awkwardness on display, this Den of Thieves scene is a fantastic showcase for Butler as an actor. Butler gets to be broad and hammy, completely dominating the scene and causing as much tension as humanly possible. Aside from the dialogue, it's the obnoxious little touches he brings that heighten it too, like stealing food from the plate of Debbie's date, Corey Scott Allen, or making a trumpet out of the divorce papers. That's one side of it, but it's clear that Nick is using his douchey alpha male energy just to mask his wounded pride. In addition to writing and directing both Den of Thieves films, Christian Gudegast also co-wrote the screenplay for Gerard Butler's action sequel London Has Fallen. He's destroyed his marriage and family and knows there's no one to blame but himself. Den of Thieves doesn't often show that more human side to Nick, who wears his red-blooded persona like it's armor. He might succeed in spoiling the dinner and humiliating Debbie's new suitor in the process. But it's an act that still comes off as self-defeating and pathetic in its own right. Den of Thieves' divorce scene reveals so much about Big Nick. It's clear Nick still loves his wife and wants to be with his family, but he still puts more focus on chasing after Merriman's Pablo Schreiber crew. The film posits that there's not much difference between Merriman and Big Nick's crews, even if the latter wear badges. They abuse their authority, drink constantly, and sleep around on the job, and are committed to their own little boys' club. Nick is using that same energy in the divorce papers scene, and trying to make himself look and feel like a badass in the process. Gerard Butler might be hilarious in this Den of Thieves scene, but it doesn't mask how small it ultimately makes the character look. Butler might be hilarious in this Den of Thieves scene, but it doesn't mask how small it makes the character look. He's using his macho persona to intimidate a group of friends at a cozy little dinner. It goes without saying he's the most intimidating person there, and he feeds off the bad energy he's creating. Nick's dinner party moment is a self-defeating move and is only going to make Debbie pull away from him even more, alongside their two daughters. Part of Big Nick must know this, but he can't help going for the temporary win. Den of Thieves' Big Nick is one of Butler's favorite characters. In a chat with MovieWeb, Butler stated that, alongside 300's King Leonidas, Big Nick is one of his favorite characters, stating, in terms of somebody who has color, who has a lot going on with their life, who is unhinged, unpredictable, but also has quite a kind of human spirit. Butler had such a great time playing Nick that he was fully on board for a sequel, even though Den of Thieves took 7 years to make due to events like COVID-19. The sequel opens with Nick divorced, broke and feeling like his life in Los Angeles is over, so he decides to join forces with Donnie instead. Nick's decision to walk on the wild side really isn't that big a shock, considering his general lack of respect for the rules. This allowed Butler to play a different side to Big Nick too, and his burgeoning friendship with Donnie forms a key part of the Den of Thieves sequel.